Good morning again, guys. And we are just about to start the day with the first keynote for this track, and it's going to be delivered by Sagi from CrazyLabs. Hi, Sagi. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. Could you please push the button to unmute yourself? Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Hello. Hi.
Yeah. How are you? How do you feel?
Excellent. Thank you. How are you?
Also fine. We are very excited for your talk. Hope you're excited as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I like the background, but I was hoping to be in person, but hopefully, soon enough.
Yes, everybody's missing Hamburg and visiting cities physically and not virtually these days, as well as I am. And everybody's just saying like how beautiful Hamburg city is, and I really want to go there, like hopefully very soon.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will happen. So, but for now, we have virtual, which is also nice.
Sure. I'm glad we have this opportunity at all. So good luck with your presentation, and please keep it up.
Thank you. So I'm going to try and talk today about why now is the right time to go hyper, and hyper specifically, I mean with gaming hyper casual. And I think every year someone talks about why hyper casual is going to stop. It's going to lose momentum. There have been predictions from 2018 towards 2019, then again 2020, and every time the market is growing. But I'll I'll share my perspective why even now is the right time to go hyper. A little bit about CrazyLabs, just in a nutshell. So we've been around for 10 years. We used to call ourselves Taptel, but when we matured our gaming capabilities and grew, we rebranded last year and we call ourselves CrazyLabs. We brand ourselves as the Crazy Gaming Company. 3 billion downloads, 250 employees, around 80 million unique monthly active users, and we are over 1% of the global downloads. We have three labs, lines of business. One is lifestyle, is games for around fashion, horses, food, seeing great success. These are games around in-app purchases and like RPG games. We have licensing lab where we partnered with some of the most successful brands. So we have Jumanji, we have Ladybug, Monster High, around casual gaming experiences. And more specifically towards what I'm going to talk about today is we have a hyper casual lab with a lot of hits growing rapidly. And I'll try and explain why I think that it's still a good choice for people to look into hyper casual and what it brings. So why now is the right time to go hyper casual when the market, you might think it's flooded and maybe it will stop growing, and there are a lot of developers. And so for one, we have now with the COVID-19, gaming market grew. We saw 50% growth in Q1 in downloads, 2 billion more downloads to quantify for gaming, and a lot of the mobile device that people hold in their hand is an actual gaming device, very low entry wise, and actually we gained quite a few or quite a lot of new gamers, but they are light gamers. They just joined the party because they had spare time in their homes, they were bored, or they wanted some casual experiences, and they downloaded and they experienced, and we just got a lot more light gamers into the party. So it's interesting. The other thing is that for a long while now, hyper casual drives the top charts. It drives a lot of what happens in the stores. You can see both on the right side what happens in the App Store in the US. So most of the game in the top charts are hyper casuals, but hyper casuals also in the share of voice in the gaming industry, from inventory availability to install growth to ad revenues, how much is it from the ad revenues and from the total installs. While we know the main limitation is that it's an ad-based business and not an in-app purchase-based business, but still ad business is growing and is significant. So a little bit about hyper casual and the difference. So hyper casual is about making a simple, short, satisfying experience, fun for non-gamers, for everyone who doesn't plan to buy Sony PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, or play long PC games. And there are hundreds of millions of people who see themselves as non-gamer, but they actually like playing games on their mobile device. It's highly replayable if it's successful, easy to monetize via ads, speedy in production, and it's data driven. The two scenarios that I present, one success scenario and one, so the best case scenario, and this is why you want to consider going hyper, because it's still easy, it's simple, and the experience will be over quite fast. So unlike investing hundreds of thousands of dollars or maybe millions in big games where you meet your audience very late in the game, here everything you do is towards meeting audience, whether it's a CPI test or an actual game test. And if you go hyper, you can have positive or negative results, which is both good, by the way, because in many cases, the negative results allow you to go to the next game or just go and free yourselves to do something else. So in 4 weeks, you can really get an answer whether this is something worth pursuing, the specific game that you're doing, or you need to move on. And it allows you to be very efficient with getting a result and with your time. So I'll talk a little bit about two experiences that we had with the ASMR slicing and with the soap cutting. Soap cutting was released late December last year, and ASMR slicing was released at the end of April. So around ideation, ideation for hyper casual can come from many places, and some are looking for inspiration in games in the past and in games in general, but a lot of the inspiration today comes from what's happening on the social networks. So if you open your TikTok, Snap, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, any videos trending out there might be the next great idea for a hyper casual game, because what you want is to reach mass, and these platforms, for sure, they can let you understand that the marketing side of whether something is a marketing phenomena that you should take note. The main challenge, I think, is finding the kind of correlation, and personally, we failed many times. We saw something that was a hit. We understood that there is a marketing potential on that side, but then actually making it into an interesting game or into a game which fits the phenomena is a challenge. So, for instance, is it going to be a challenging game, a level-based game? Are you going to fail a lot, or are you going to just slide through? In the case of soap cutting and ASMR slicing, these are both what we call Zen games. So the whole experience is one that should get your heart rate down, prepare you for being calm, and even a kind of before I go to sleep kind of experience. So you needed to find the right experience that would allow and would match the trend. So what's going to be the core game loop selection is important, and how you're going to design then the levels and the progression. Because if you want a Zen experience, it's not about failing and succeeding necessarily. It's about going through the motions while getting instruction and following instructions and feeling fulfilled about achieving that. The wow effect. So how are you going to keep the experience very accurate? So I can tell you that when we got the pitches or the initial prototypes for these games, they were prototypes, so they were missing the right sound effects and even haptics. And haptics has a lot to do with Zen games and in hyper casual in general. So having the right type of haptics, player feedback, and the right type of sound is something which is very important for these experiences. And again, it needs to be the right fit. It's not any haptics or aggressive haptics. It needs to be something that fits the playability, that fits the mode that you want the player to be in, the kind of mental zone he wants to be in when and while playing the game. The same goes for sounds. And by the way, we saw with SOAP a big shift in the retention when we nailed right together with the developer the haptics and the sound. So both, by the way, both SOAP and ASMR slicing were done together with the external developers. Great experience. They came with the games, and we together with them helped kind of get the games accurate and ready for launch. So haptics and sound is a very important experience, making the game simple to play. In many cases, even one finger mechanics. We know the paradigm of, you are in the bus or in the subway and you just have one free hand to activate the game. But in general, the simpler the game, it's going to be simpler to operate by many people, and it's going to be also easier to pull at different occasions, do another session and another session, and then go back to the game again and again. So making things simple, and especially one finger mechanics, are important. And for instance, in soap cutting, that was a challenge. You needed on one side to cut the soap, and then on the other side to remove the particles. So together with the developer, we reached a good experience with one hand you shave the soap, and then you move up, and then you remove the particles. So reaching the right experience with the soap cutting with one finger was really, really important for the success of the game. About what to do and what not to do. So let the players play. Don't stop them in the beginning. Let them experience the game. The attention span today is very, very low. So if you bore people in the video for the first 3 seconds, they're going to go away. If you're not going to let them play the game, you're going to over explain to them in hyper casual, then they're going to go away. So first, let them play. Then if you have additional meta game, dress ups or some things that you want them to go through, then first have them listening to you and playing the game and engage with you. So we just saw this was the first CPI test. So in hyper casual, you want to meet your audience as fast as possible, see whether this is something that they're interested in playing. And the best way is to show them the video. You have the game, you have part of the game, you have a prototype, or you're even examining the themes, everything works. It's a video. So you just want them to see whether they're going to click and whether they're going to bite and whether they're going to view the video and until when. So you can analyze the video, you can analyze the view patterns, and especially the CPI. We target something like 30 cents. You can see 20 to 30 cents being targeted today by the top publishers for the CPI test. Specifically for these games, the CPI tests were even much lower, towards 11 cents, which was a great surprise and indicated that at least on the need side, there is a need or someone wants to play such a game. Then you need to put the other side, which is the game. So because if you bring the players but they don't like the game, they just want to download it, but then they run very fast because it's not really a satisfying experience. So then you start improving on one side the marketability, but you also continue and do a D1 retention, day one retention test, not too many levels, not real metagame, and the goal is to check whether you're there. So the next step, so for instance, for ASMR slicing, timeline-wise, 3 weeks working process, pitched approved, first prototype, first CPI test was 11 cents, and then with the day one retention of 48%, then second iteration with CPI of 8 cents and day one retention of over 62%. So very fast. By the way, we have. I'm showing you a success because obviously this is something better to show, something which was successful. But we have many 3 to 4 weeks, or even sometimes 2, 3 weeks, such games that went through the process and then had like 60 cents CPI or had 30 cents and 30% day one retention. And these were just canceled project, the same speed of a successful project and of canceled project. And this is why I think that a lot of people with gaming experiences there can find this interesting. I think one more thing that I've been hearing around quite a lot, I've been meeting with a lot of people from different genres that were doing casuals and RPGs and social casinos. A lot of people from these industries are now also doing hyper casual. And one of the main things they're talking about, so is, and I'll show it in the next slide. So this is just to finish ASMR slicing. Go to the top chart. In May, it was number one globally in the total downloads in all of in both stores. It was number 6 on iOS, number 1 on GP, and overall it made already in 1 month, a bit more than 1 month, 40 million downloads. So what I started saying earlier about people are now talking about the hybrid casual. The one main example that everyone is talking about is obviously Archero, that a lot of people know about, which made at least by speculation more than $50 million in the first few months. And it's a game with highly addictive and accessible core gameplay, hyper casual core gameplay, but it added a simplified metagame, but still a metagame which was enough to change the experience, bring it to somewhere which is much more in a purchase based. So I've been hearing quite a lot of teams and people talking about trying to find the hybrid casual experiences. I think this is the next kind of big chase of hyper casual, and it's merging into the mainstream gaming, casual RPGs, and so on. And it's interesting. I think that right now we have one good candidate, which is Archero. But let's see. Personally, I think, and this is why we have in our company, we have both the big meta lab, like Lifestyle, where we build big meta games, big core gaming experiences, and we have hyper casual. We believe that also somewhere there might be hybrid casual experiences lying around. And once we feel that we find and uncovered such an experience, then we want to be ready with all the skills in the company. So this is our take on that. But I think that hyper is there to grab and very interesting, still growing market, very accessible for a lot of users, a lot of light gamers coming to the party, and I think it's fun. It's fun, and this is also very important. It's fun making hyper casual game. It's fun seeing in 4-6 weeks millions of people play and download your game, and I think we're all in gaming also for the fun. So let's have fun.
Thank you very much, Sagi. This was a great one. Thanks for the insights and for the view of the market. We have a few questions in the lectures chat. Do you mind answering them if I voice over them? Okay?
No, sure.
All right. So first of all, you've mentioned the CPI tests, and Eva Gao also asks about the CTR tests. What are the regular benchmarks do you use for CTR tests?
what do you mean by regular? Do you mean the actual numbers that we like seeing on the conversion?
Yeah, something like this. So like any numbers you are glad to see when you run a CTR test on your prototype.
I think that we actually look at the combined value at the CPI, because just looking at one number is usually not enough. So we look at how much what we have drives you to actually install, because you can, out of the combination between the CTR or the click and the willingness to install, because you show the video, someone, and then you bring him to the store, and then you want him to convert and to download. So you can have mixing numbers. I mean, you can show a video that doesn't match what you have in the store, and so on. So we actually when we test, we look at this one value. We might look at indicators, but I don't think split there scientifically that I can benchmark the numbers.
Great, thank you. So you have to look for like the complex situation and not for the exact indicators. Thank you.
Yes.
The next question is from Nicola Galeazzo, and they ask us, where do you run the tests? Which countries do you prefer to test the prototype, and what's the geographic?
So we like testing before. Sometimes we will test in different geos. Because today in hyper casual there is a lot of cloning and data through store glide and other mechanics. Games are made really available, so sometimes you'll try and do the first test in different geos just to see retention. But when we prepare for the actual launch, so when we do the scale test, or even when we do the advanced test, we'll usually choose the US store, which is, for us at least, the target store where we look at the economic and the scale. So so very fast we'll align towards the US store. Once in the past, we used to have this process. I think a lot of developers said, when you test in Australia or in Canada, or Australia and then Canada and then maybe the UK, you do some stability in other geos. But today we try as fast as possible to go after the US, because this is where this is our primary target. Today, 50% of our downloads are coming from the US, and with the numbers, so we try as fast as possible to align on US users.
Thank you for the insights and the strategy. And also, Dan Creek in the lectures chat asked us, how many players and installs do you need to test the CPI?
So some of the tests, by the way, we developed, I think we're not unique. There are other publishers as well. There's a lot of automation going into it. So so a lot of things are now dictated by the underlying BI system and technology. We just rolled out a system which allows to upload and automatically test on Facebook and on Snap. And usually to get the first CPI test, that would require kind of a couple of hundreds, not a lot. So usually we look at it differently. With the $50 budget, we can get a CPI test. If we don't, then it means that it failed the CPI test. So
thank you. And I believe we have one last question for you. So if I'm a new game developer and I have made a cool prototype, whom should I contact first with my game idea and my initial prototype?
So I'm not the guy to ask. For me, you should contact us, CrazyLabs.
Yeah,
there are great publishers out there. So like I said, we compete with great other teams in the top charts. Obviously, I think that we are the best. We can give the best technology and skill and so on. So I would recommend contacting us. But But like I said, I think there are great other publishers out there. So and it's really easy to find them. So when just look at the top charts, and you'll know who you should try and submit your game to.
Thank you very much, Sagi. Thanks for the insights and for the strategy and for answering the questions. It was a great talk.
Thank you. Thank you, and it's a great event. So I'll tune in to see the rest of the lectures.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.